How's it going, everybody? It's a fun review today as we're talking The Strangers Chapter 2. Listen, I'm not going to sugarcoat things. I wasn't exactly going into this sequel with high expectations, given I wasn't that big a fan of The Strangers Chapter 1. By most standards, I felt it was a poor imitation of the original Strangers. This is coming from someone that enjoys the original Strangers. I never necessarily understood why we keep trying to make this into a horror franchise. However, since this is supposed to be a trilogy of films, I did try to have some level of optimism that they do a little bit better with the follow-up because they don't have to copy the original movie anymore, and now this one actually kind of ironically copies more of Halloween 2 than anything else. Surprisingly, off the bat, I can share the good news that The Strangers Chapter 2 is an improvement from The Strangers Chapter 1 in multiple ways. The only problem here, however, is it is still not a good movie. If anything, I feel even more disinterested and confused on how or why this was greenlit as a trilogy of films to begin with. They almost hook you early on, thinking that the opening is going to set the tone for a really fun, interesting, exciting sequel, only to devolve into a film that is primarily an extended chase sequence with sprinkled in explorations of the origins of the strangers that is inherently underwhelming. For as many flaws as these movies have, one of my positives, I would have to say, and it's similar to Chapter 1, is I do think Madelaine Petsch is doing a solid job leading the film. I mean, she does the absolute very best she can to make this material work, and with most of the runtime dedicated to being chased by the strangers, she manages to pull off some pretty entertaining Scream Queen level moments with the scares she's put through, albeit most of the experience is quite the uninteresting slog to get through. In comparison also to Chapter 1, the kills are more or less what you would expect from the Strangers franchise. Your usual brutality and viciousness. Most of the kills in the Strangers Chapter 2 are cutaways too, so that is also extra irritating. The main issue is there's an overabundance of CGI blood. CGI blood in a horror movie is already a point of contention, but it's the idea around it that it is really noticeable that it's CGI blood, and it doesn't look good. It looks like it's not even fully rendered at times. The worst sequence of CGI in the movie, though, it's one of those scenes that I was almost dying from laughter over. It's something you're going to be seeing plastered all over social media once this movie hits theaters. There's this sequence with a CGI animal randomly in the middle of the movie that is so random and bizarre. All I was thinking about when I saw the movie is, why exactly is this in the middle of a Strangers film? It's going to be one of those things I'm very curious how audiences are going to react to it because it is so strange. When discussing the Strangers specifically as a whole, they're scary enough. Most of the terror evoked, in my opinion, from the original comes from the grim realism of the idea. They don't seem to have a real motive. There's no reason for why they're doing all of this stuff. The movie is called The Strangers. The whole point is we have no idea who or what they're about. That being said, Chapter 2, in my opinion, rips away whatever mystique is left, deciding to explore the origins of the strangers, answering these questions that arguably I feel like most people did not want the answers to. I'm sure there will be at least a few people out there that were clamoring to know more about the strangers. It'd be one thing if they actually found a way to give these strangers interesting backstories, but it is the usual cliche, nonsensical, traumatic childhood trauma, feeling why they do what they do. Not only do I just find it very uninspiring and ruins a lot of the mystique around the strangers at its core, retroactively, I feel like this affects the original. If you go back and watch the original after this, you have a sort of backstory for these characters that didn't feel necessary whatsoever. Did we truly need to know the backstory behind Tamara and why that's something the strangers continuously say in these movies? Not really. Sporadically brief moments of suspense and action sprinkled throughout the elongated chase are interesting, but they're few and far between because we knew heading into this that this is a trilogy and this is the middle entry of the trilogy. So not only do they not try anything interesting to up the stakes, because of the fact that we know that Chapter 3 is inevitable, there's not really a huge sense of actual danger. Chapter 2's cliffhanger, I'd say, is even more eye-roll inducing than the one they did for Chapter 1. If I wasn't somebody that was stubborn and a glutton for punishment at times, I probably wouldn't even go and watch Chapter 3 when it comes out, largely due to the fact that there's not enough story here that's engaging enough to warrant a trilogy. Sadly, The Strangers Chapter 2, even if it's a slight improvement conceptually, it's a tedious experience to endure, bogged down by a flat, uninteresting lack of story and mind-boggling decisions to take the strangers in while giving them cliche backstories in the process. By now, I think it's been made clear that the strangers in the original film were scary, but they don't necessarily necessarily have the appeal to be turned into this massive horror franchise. All these different sequels. Prey at Night was kind of mixed in general. Chapter 1 was bad. Chapter 2 is just as bad. Given the reception of these chapters so far, I would be shocked if they end up releasing this third chapter in theaters. It seems like a movie that is primed to be dumped on VOD or streaming. Once you get a chance to check out The Strangers Chapter 2, though, make sure you share your thoughts down below. What'd you think of the film? Did you like the film? Did you not like the film? Are you looking forward to The Strangers Chapter 3? Do you think that's going to be the one that really turns this franchise around? Either way, thank you guys so much for checking out videos. I always do appreciate it. Make sure to like on the video and also subscribe to the channel to update reviews, reactions, unboxings, and more. Till next time, I'll see you guys later.